Welcome to the Magnetic Creator Podcast. I'm your host, Melanie Mishler, and each week we have intimate conversations about the things that matter most in life. My superpower is helping you remember who you truly are, a powerful, magical creator. I give you proven tools to help you get unstuck and manifest a life that sets your heart on fucking fire. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, my beautiful friend. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so happy to talk about today's episode because we're talking about how building a house is just like manifestation. And stick with me because you know I love analogies. But as many of you know, Andy and I are in the process of building our micro resort down in Belize. And such a beautiful place. One day I will invite you to come join me for an intimate retreat week. Building it has been such a fun and creative journey because we're working with builders and architects and designers to bring our vision to life. And honestly, throughout this process, I'm constantly reminded of how the manifestation technique that I teach is exactly the same process as building a house. Because before a single piece of wood was cut for our first cabana, we already knew what it would feel like to sit inside. We could imagine the texture of the floors beneath our feet, the color of the paint on the walls, the cool touch of the tile. We even knew how the sunlight would filter through the windows and what it would feel like to sit there and look out them. All of that, every single detail existed in our minds before the builders ever picked up a single tool. So today we're going to talk about how building a house is basically the same thing as building your dream life. Whether that's creating your dream soul-aligned business, attracting your ideal relationship, or just crafting the life you've always desired. Because when you think about it, building a house starts with a vision. You imagine what you want. You dream about how it will look, how it will feel, and then you create a detailed blueprint. And that blueprint, it starts to get refined and perfected before the building starts to take shape and come to life. And manifestation works exactly the same way because it doesn't matter what you're creating, whether it's a home, a career, financial freedom, an incredible relationship. The steps are always the same. You have to have a desire inside of you to build something or to create something. Then you imagine it, you vision it, you plan it, you take action, and you trust. And this idea isn't new by any means. It's as old as time. I want you to just look around you right now. And every single thing you see around you, it was first created in someone's mind. The chair you're sitting on, the table, the car, they didn't just poof, like come into existence. Someone had to dream them up first. They had to imagine how they would look, and then they had to take the steps to bring them in reality. And my teachers, Charles Hannell and Neville Goddard, who you probably have heard me talk about them because they were my first manifestation teachers that I discovered like 30 years ago. They talked a lot about the parallels between manifestation and building a house. Charles Hannell described how an architect creates a mental blueprint before a single brick is laid. And Neville Goddard taught that the imagination is a workshop where you create the life that you want. And friend, it's not just manifestation teachers that talk about the importance of creating images in your mind first. You know I'm equal parts woo-woo, neuroscience, and strategy. So let me remind you, even Einstein talked about the importance of imagination. He said, imagination is more important than knowledge because knowledge is limited where imagination embraces the whole world. And it's true. Every single thing starts in our mind with a vision, long before it becomes a physical reality. So in today's episode, I'm going to share with you how this metaphor can help you approach manifestation with clarity and confidence. Because just like building a house, you are the architect of your life and you have the power to create something really extraordinary. So step one is desire and vision. Because everything starts with a vision, and that vision is fueled from a desire. So before you can build anything, whether it's a house, a career, your dream relationship, you have to know what you want. This is the foundation. When Andy and I started planning the micro resort, we didn't just think about how it would look, we thought about how it would feel. We envision ourselves walking through the cabanas, feeling the texture of the floors, hearing the sounds of nature, and imagining just all the excitement of welcoming guests there. And this is exactly where you need to start, with a clear vision. What do you want to create? How does it look? How does it feel? And what does it mean for your life? And here's the thing. So often we hold back on our vision because we're afraid to dream big. We almost like subdue our vision a little bit. And very often I see women do this because there's this energy of, what if it doesn't happen? Or what if I don't have what it takes to create this? Or who am I to want this? But friend, let me tell you, you are worthy of any dream that you have. And I always tell people, dream bigger than you've ever dreamed before. Give yourself permission to imagine it. Close your eyes and really picture it and write it down. Let yourself get excited, because the vision is a foundation for everything that you're going to build. And then once you have that vision, the next step is in choosing materials you're going to build. And think about it. If you're building a house, would you use cheap, flimsy wood that might fall apart, or would you choose the highest quality materials you could find, something that's strong and sturdy? And the same is true for manifesting your dreams. The material you're using is your beliefs, your habits, and the actions that are supporting your vision. Are you building with confidence and trust and love, or are you letting fear and doubt and limiting beliefs kind of lead the show? And I always love sharing this because this reminds me of a story about my dear friend. She had been dreaming about building her perfect home in Belize for years. And she had this vision in her mind of what it would look like. Her home was going to be surrounded by lush jungle, and she manifested the perfect piece of land at an amazing price. I mean, amazing. It looked like everything was falling into place. And then she hired a builder to bring her home to life. And for a while, everything seemed on track. The plan looked good. And she was planning to be settled into her house in I think 4 months. But then as the house started to go up, she noticed that something wasn't quite right. The wood that they were using, it wasn't the high quality hardwood that she planned for, that they use in Belize. It was a completely different standard of wood than hardwood. And one day she invited me to the building site. And when she showed me the wood, I was completely blown away. I couldn't believe what she was showing me. The wood, it wasn't just bad, it was horrible. It felt like foam board. It was cheap and flimsy. And it had been infested with termites or something. And you could literally snap it with your hands in half. I remember picking up the wood and thinking, is this a fucking joke? I don't know if her builder thought that she wouldn't notice because she was a woman, or if he was trying to cut corners or save money, but it was really, really bad. And she realized that she couldn't continue to let them build the house with that material. So you know what she did? She fired her builder and she actually tore it down. Yeah, she tore the whole house down that had started to build. I mean, they had the frame and all kinds of stuff up, and she started completely over. It wasn't easy for her. It cost time, it cost money, it cost a whole lot of stress. But she knew that if she wanted to have her dream home stand the test of time, she couldn't settle for subpar materials. She couldn't work with that builder who was not aligned with her vision. And she refused to let her vision be compromised by cutting corners or accepting anything less than the best. And friend, this is a great story because the same thing goes for your life. If you are building your dream on a foundation of fear and self-doubt, or surrounded by people who don't believe in you, it's like using rotting wood for your house. It is not going to hold up. It's not going to support you in the long run. And also, if you're cheaping out on yourself, if you're cutting corners, if you're settling for less than you deserve, or making excuses, or taking shortcuts that don't align with your vision, you're sabotaging the very dream that you're trying to build. You can't expect a masterpiece if you're only willing to invest in scraps. I want you to really think about this. You would not build your house with materials that you knew were crap. Of course not. So why would you let fear, negativity, and half-hearted effort creep into the foundation of your dream life or the soul-aligned business that you're building? Sometimes investing in yourself, in your beliefs, your habits, your mindset, it requires courage. It means walking away from people or situations that no longer serve you. And it might also mean tearing down what isn't working and starting fresh, just like my friend did with her house. Now, this isn't always an easy process. In fact, it's usually not an easy process at all. It takes honesty and willingness to look really closely at the materials you're building with. Maybe it's a limiting belief you've been holding on to, like I'm not good enough or it's too late for me. Maybe it's a habit that's keeping you stuck, like procrastination or negative self-talk. Whatever it is, you have the power to replace it with something stronger, with better materials, beliefs that empower you, habits that support you, and actions that are aligned with the vision that you're bringing into life. Because here's the truth, the time and the energy that you put into building with the right materials will always be worth it. Because when you build with strength, integrity, and love, you will create something that stands the test of time. So let me ask you, what materials are you using to build your dream life? Are they strong? Are they empowering? Are they aligned with your vision? Or are they something that you need to tear down and rebuild? Another step in bringing your vision to life is creating a blueprint. I want you to think about it. No builder would ever start building a house without a detailed plan. In fact, every room, every wall, every window is mapped out before a single nail is ever hammered. The blueprint is what guides the builders. And your dream life needs a blueprint too. This is where you take your vision and you break it down into actionable steps. What needs to happen first? What resources or skills do you need to gather? What small actions can you take today or tomorrow to move you closer to your dream? And just like a house, your blueprint doesn't need to be perfect from the start. Plans can change. You might realize along the way that you need to adjust or refine certain parts of your vision, and that's okay. When we were designing the first cabana, which is being built right now, we were constantly working with our builder and updating the plans. In fact, at the last minute, we decided to remove a window so that we could improve the flow of the space. And then we changed the placement of the electrical panels and things like that to make it more practical. And guess what? Some things we didn't get right. We'd stop and look at it and say, snap, the next cabana we're going to do a little bit differently. And that's okay. It's just part of the journey. So sometimes you don't realize what you truly need until you experience what doesn't work. The truth is, no matter how much planning you do, you're going to keep learning along the way. You'll see things you didn't anticipate. You'll need to pivot, tweak, or even start over in some areas. But that's not failure. It's part of the process. It's how you refine your vision and improve with every step. One of my teachers used to say, sometimes it's good to live in a house with small closets, so you realize that you need a house with more or bigger closets. And isn't that the truth? Sometimes things that feel like a mistake or inconveniences are actually just lessons to help us refine our vision and get clear on what we want. The important thing is to start with a plan, to take your big, beautiful dream and reverse engineer it and ask, what's the first step I can take to move me closer to that vision? And what habits do I need to adopt to stay aligned with this vision? Because here's the thing, friend, without a blueprint, it's really easy to get stuck in the dreaming phase. You can think about what you want, but you don't make progress because you don't know where to start. And so a plan starts to transform your vision from a wish into something tangible. And I've seen many women get stuck in this dreaming phase for decades because they haven't taken the time to really hone in and really get clear and create that blueprint about what they want. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay to be messy. It will get refined along the way. So friend, just like building a house, creating your dream life, you're creating your soul-aligned business or whatever it is that you want to create, it starts with a few things. A desire, a clear vision, and a solid blueprint. You need to get clear on what you want. You need to create a plan to make it happen and choose the best materials to work with. And if you realize you've been using the wrong materials or following a blueprint that's no longer aligns with your vision, it's okay to start over. Just like my friend, you can tear it down and you can rebuild something stronger, something better. Because you are the architect of your life. You have the power to create anything you desire. And if you have a desire in you, then that means it's meant for you. You already have everything inside of you to bring it to fulfillment, to create it. It's just about unlocking that. So, all right, friend, thanks so much for spending the time with me today. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Send me a message. Definitely share this with a friend if you know they would love to hear it. And until next time, keep manifesting an epic life.